Today, we're going to talk about assets and liabilities. I'm going to talk about it in two different ways. One is the obvious financial implications, right? Asset is something that holds value, something that brings value, usually adds to your finances, right? A house may not be an asset, but if you're renting it out and it's generating money, that's an asset. Or has the ability to generate money, it's an asset. If it's taking money, it's a liability, especially if it doesn't have any ability to earn any sort of income. So, from a strictly accounting standpoint, houses, cars, all these things are liabilities. But especially in this day and age, they can be turned into assets, right? You can rent out rooms on Airbnb. You can rent out the place. You can rent out the car on Turo. You can rent out, you can drive for Uber. You can drive for Uber Eats. You can use these liabilities as a means to produce income. So, with that said, assets and liabilities aren't black and white as they may sound. But my question that I pose today is, are you an asset or a liability in the lives of those you surround yourself with, right? So, are you a person who's taking, or are you a person who's giving? And this is actually, it's partially financial, but it can be anything that a relationship is. We all have relationships with people, and they're for reasons, right? Whether this person makes you laugh, whether this person is kind to you, whether this person provides good companionship or has similar interests. All these things are factors in a relationship. And if everything is too much negative, if they're taking away from you constantly, then they're a liability. If they're giving, they're an asset. And we ebb and flow. I give, you receive, vice versa. It's cyclical. It should be mutually beneficial. So I pose this question of, are you an asset or a liability in the lives of your friends, family, and otherwise? So when people need things solved, when people need money, when people need answers, when people need advice, are they going to you? Are you an asset? Or are you a liability? Are you an example of what not to do? Like, definitely not going to ask him about money, not going to ask them about advice. So really start to vet that process. And my argument, obviously, is that you should be an asset to those in your life. You should be a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information, a wealth of money. You should be rich in all these things, and you should be able to dispense all these things. You should be able to give them, because if you're not able to, you're becoming a liability. If you're always asking them for help, if you're always asking them for things or advice or anything. Now, understand, some people are ahead of you. Some people, it's like a mentorship kind of relationship. But the point is, you should bring something to the table. Even if you're 20 years old and you're asking the advice of a 40, 50, 60-year-old, you still may have something to offer them because you have a perspective. You grew up in the newer world, right? You're more familiar with newer things. So you can give them perspective, give them insight on what it's like to be young now, on what the world cares about now, things that are trending, right? So it's not always experience, but in some degree, there has to be some sort of give and take, right? And same thing, the old people, they can have wisdom. They can pass you down. They can tell you how things were. They can tell you how those things translate to current day. So point is, be an asset in other people's lives. Don't be a liability. And the next question, logically, would be, well, how do I become an asset? You have to go, as a man anyways, you have to go alone. You have to go and figure things out. You have to go out and figure out your own life, figure out your own problems, and then you can pour them out and you can help other people, right? I didn't know anything about fitness. Yes, I sought out information, but then also through trial and error and experience, I learned these things. I can pour it out. Any of my friends, ever want to lose weight, gain muscle, want advice on exercises, anything like that, they're coming to me as an asset, right? Same thing. People ask me financial advice. What do I do with this? How do I start with that? Because they're starting to see the fruits of my labor, my knowledge, or whatever. Don't take advice from someone whose situation you wouldn't take. So, I still have a lot to learn. I don't have all of the answers, but I am ahead of a decent amount of people, and those people I can give advice. You can only give advice as far as you've come, in my opinion, right? I can't give IFBB pro bodybuilding advice because I've never been there. But what I am is an average guy, right? I'm not athletic. I'm not into sports, but I work a desk job, but I've still maintained my fitness. So I can give advice from your normal everyday Joe. If they want to be in shape and, not necessarily compete for things or something like that, I'm your guy. So context matters, but at the very least, have something to offer. It can be just knowledge. It doesn't have to be money or physical things that you give people. Something, right? Be funny. Work on a skill. Something that you can help them with, And a lot of this starts with self-development. You have to solve your own problems before you can solve anyone else's problems. So solve your own problems, and then maybe you can help someone else solve their problems. That's the impetus of this YouTube channel, right? I'm good at a lot of things. And those things, I'd like to pass that knowledge on, right? A lot of times I get distracted, deflected. It's like, should I make my channel about cars? Should I like working on cars? Should I make my channel about working on cars? Should I make my channel about fitness, finance, whatever? We're going to see what hits. Fitness and finance are very, everybody could stand to be more in shape and better off financially. So those are the subjects I'd like to hit. But, what is it that you need advice on? What problems are you facing in your life? Some people have relationship issues. Some people have, this is aimed at men. So a lot of men have issues with girls, right? A lot of these problems get solved when you become an asset. If this girl thinks of you, looks up to you, respects you as a man, as a person who's developed and dealt with his own struggles, your girl problems are going to eliminate. So I kind of gone off on a tangent, but the main message of this video is to be an asset in the lives of those around you, whether those be, intimate relationships, whether those be friendships, whether those be family, whatever it is, be an asset to people, right? I've even given a little bit of advice on YouTube. Yeah, nobody watches my videos, right, as of right now, but I can at least give them advice of, hey, here's how to have an easy setup. Here's the camera you need. Here's the computer you need. Here's how I upload my stuff. All those little things. And that's through experience. That's through trial and error. I've done the whole iPhone uploading, downloading. The point is, as you go through life, you should be experiencing, trying things, failing at things. And you can at least, when you're having a conversation, interject, hey, when I started uploading videos, this is the camera that I used. Boom, it gives someone a starting point at the very least. So don't want to go on much longer. Be an asset to those around you. Do not be a liability. Don't be drawing, taking, and just sucking the life out of every relationship you have. Give something, contribute something to the world, and you're going to be better for it. You're going to attract much better people in your life, and you're going to be helpful. When people speak of you, think of you, they're going to be like, this guy helped me with something. He could probably help you. They'll speak nicely of you versus like, oh man, every time we go out, this guy's got no money. I always got to pay for the bill. You're only going to get so far on that, on being a liability. So being an asset's better in the long run. It's better for you. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to have self-confidence. You're going to have everything because you'll be solving your problems, and then you can solve other people's problems. So let me know in the comments, are you an asset or a liability? Has anyone in your life been an asset or a liability? What are your assets and liabilities financially? Where are you at? What can you help people with? What can you share? What can you give? Figure that out. and stop being so concerned with your own things. Solve your own problems and then pass that what you figured out to the world.